I can count to 10, please.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So a town manager is sort of like the CEO of the town, working under the board of directors, which is the board of selectmen in most towns in Massachusetts. Under state statute, I'm considered a chief administrative officer. So most of the town's budget and the personnel and the operations sort of flow to me to manage on a day-to-day basis and to carry out the policy directions of the board of selectmen and other boards and committees. And a lot of it really is day-to-day business management. It's making sure payroll gets taken care of, making sure that we pay our bills, that we collect the money that we need to collect. I approve a lot of things. I don't know whether it's all stuff I'm supposed to approve or not approve, but my office is a constant stream of, can we do this, can we do that, is this okay, is that okay? So some days I'm just saying yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. I started going to public meetings when I was 15 or 16 and speaking up, and I was speaking to my local school committee as a representative, letting them know issues that we as students had in the school department. And that sort of morphed into me wanting to get involved in local government. I've had a great chance to do some international travel and some international work, so for me it really is the best of both worlds. I spent 2 weeks in Southeast Asia earlier this year on a professional exchange funded by the State Department and hosted through ICMA, which is the International City County Managers Association. It was a great chance to just go over there and learn about sustainability and governance in Singapore and in Thailand. Last year I had a chance to go to a conference in Israel, and we learned about cybersecurity and smart cities and some other really fascinating tech and IT issues in Tel Aviv, Israel, which was fascinating. So I've been able to merge sort of that interest in what goes on in the world and interest in travel with local government. So, it's funny, I often get asked what a typical day is for a town manager, and it's funny, this past Friday, I got into the office around 8:30, and I took about an hour and a half in the late afternoon and went to the gym, and then I went to an event in the evening for about an hour. But other than that, I got in the office around 8:30 and didn't leave till half past midnight. We had to make some changes and corrections to a zoning ordinance that was before town hall. So sometimes you come in and it's a 14, 15-hour day of doing everything you got to do to get a zoning ordinance ready for the special town meeting. The day before, I had to unclog a toilet because the janitor was out sick that day. So it sort of runs the gamut from one end of the spectrum to the other. My mother and father, my sister is 10 years younger than me, so she's my little sister. And then I have 2 cousins that I grew up with. I have grandparents in Florida, of course, too, and then I have 2 cousins that I grew up with that we were sort of raised as brothers and sisters that, whenever we get together, we all sort of start grinning about, oh boy, which story are we going to tell from when we were little kids? So I actually held my very first job for 7 or so years. I started out in high school working for National Amusements behind a concession stand. I then became a supervisor and then an assistant manager and then a manager and then a senior manager, and sort of going through that transition over the course of 7 or 8 years with the company, I learned how to hire people. The first time I ever interviewed somebody for a job, the first time I ever had to fire somebody for a job. So it was a great chance in a comparatively low-risk environment to just learn how to manage people and work with people, and to make a lot of those mistakes along the way in a way that's not as difficult as it is when you're at the level I have to deal with it now. My very first car was a 1991 Toyota Camry, white with a tan interior, the best car in the world. I miss it. I never should have gotten rid of it. I had a chance to get a newer car from a family member that was cheaper and it needed a little bit of work. If I could go back and buy that car today, I would buy that car today, and that would be the car I would drive for the rest of my life. I like Christmas as a season because I guess I like fall going into Christmas, so as a whole season, I'd have to say that. Actual holiday is probably Easter. I'm Greek Orthodox, so sort of in the Orthodox faith, Easter is a big holiday, and it was always sort of our big family holiday every year, and there's a lot of tradition around it. So I always just liked everything around the Easter holiday, so the Christmas season or Easter. But so I wanted a community that cares about itself and cares about its future, and people can disagree on what that future is and how you get there, and that's fine, but the more people approach it from a love of their community, that's what you're looking for, because that's what makes this work exciting. That's what makes it engaging for me. It's not just a punch a clock job for me where I come in and punch the clock and do the work and go home. God knows if that was all it was, I would go do something else where I had my nights and weekends free and where you didn't have 15-hour days. So for a community that cares about itself and cares about its future, that's what inspires me, and that's what inspires me to get up in the morning and do work for people who also care about their community.